Today's treasure hunt had me shaking with excitement. This was a rare opportunity to dive historic surfing grounds for decades of lost treasure. But what I ended up finding had no business being in these waters. So hold your breath.
I am super stoked for this spot today. We're at a bit of a local surfing beach, and adjacent to where people typically surf are some tide pools where a lot of locals will come and swim. Now, usually this place is getting slammed with waves, but right now as we enter our summer season, the waves are going to be a little bit smaller. So we're going to get out there with the metal detector because I doubt anyone else even goes out there and looks. Right off the coast, we've got these magnificent islands. They're natural seabird sanctuaries. The one to the left is called Manana, and the one on the right is called Ka'ohikaipu. It always makes for an incredible scene every time I'm out here, just in awe. But let's go ahead and get in the water.
Starting off in the tide pools, I was shocked by the amount of fish that were cruising around, just massive schools of them. But it wasn't long before we were on to our first signal. Now these tide pools were crystal clear, and there were so many fish I could actually hear them every time they changed direction. Some of these coins were so worn they looked like ancient relics, which is promising because it means they're probably pretty old. And with my new Easter wristband in place, we were on to our next signal, and it sounded like a big one. Whatever this thing was really down in there. But eventually, I was able to stick my hand down underneath the rock, and I could feel it on my fingertips. And with a nice jostle, it came free. Now this next target, I still have no idea what it is, so if you guys have any ideas, let me know down in the comments. And now for the exciting part. We're flipping our Crocs into sport mode because we're leaving the tide pools out into the open ocean. And as soon as we were out into the open water, something caught my eye. There was this massive fishing line tangled across these pieces of rock. and I wanted to follow it down and see if I could find the end. Looks like someone got hung up on the rocks. And this is the exact reason why I bring a dive knife with me, because you don't want to get tangled up in something like this, and I also don't want any animals getting tangled up in it. So we're going to go ahead and gather as much of this line as we can, chop it off so that no turtles get hung up and end up drowning. Now the water we're in is underneath where a lot of people will surf, but it's also popular for fishing. People camp out on the beach, toss this massive weight out, and hope to catch ulua. And the amount of lead left behind is an obvious sign. And sneaking around in the rocks is a massive brittle star. Hello, what's up? We'll just put him back where he came from. This little school of fish was very interested every time I dig a hole. They come over and check it out, and they were pretty jealous of this cool metal rock that I spent 13 minutes looking for. And after one too many 8-ounce lead fishing weights, I was back into the tide pools because I was sure there was something good here. Save someone a bad day at the beach. Now here's another mystery item. Any ideas? Now this isn't the usual lead find. I'm pretty sure this is a bullet, and I found not just one, but 2 of these. And this signal got me pretty excited, because as I was digging through the sand, I saw a little glint of gold. Unfortunately, it was just a fancy zipper, but little did I know, the treasure was not too far away.
Oh! It's a ring! The diamond? Oh. I'm cold.
And with that burst of adrenaline, I had enough energy for one more signal. And this one was a heart stopper.
What is that? What in the world?
This coin had me holding my breath, because in addition to it being shaped like a pentagon, it also had a Jerusalem cross, which most people would recognize as the cross on the back of Spanish silver, like real pirate treasure. And there wasn't just one.
Oh no!
And at this point, I was kind of apprehensive, because while it looked and felt just like a real pirate coin, silver does not tarnish. So now it's time to take it home, clean it up, and see if we can't gather any more clues.
As I was getting all dried off and finished up with the day, the lifeguards. There they go now. I rolled up and asked if I'd been in a kayak, because apparently there's a green kayak way down there that had washed up without a person in it. All the more reason to, if you're ever going out in the ocean alone, make sure people know where you are, when you'll be back, just in case anything were to ever happen, because the waves here do not mess around.
We are back home, dried off, and I've got all the finds laid out for the day, so let's go ahead and go through the tally. On the left, we have got our trash, fool's gold zipper, a lot of aluminum, screw, a zipper, and even a pair of rusty fingernail clippers. Then on the right, we've got our treasure, a whole lot of lead, which was to be expected, about $1 and change, some bullets, and then we have got our weird pirate coins. Now these things are really interesting. I'll talk about them here in a second. And then, of course, we have got our beautiful diamond ring. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of those finer finds. Starting off with our pirate coins. So that is the Jerusalem cross I was talking about. You'll find that on a lot of Spanish silver coins. And then on the other side is a whole detailed design. Now at first I got really excited about these. I mean, can you blame me? Look at those things. They look like they are ancient. Unfortunately, I noticed that the way that they're tarnishing is very similar to zinc, with the way that the sand sticks to them. But I did give them a slight cleanup, and after looking them up on Amazon, sure enough, they are zinc pirate coins. So someone was having a bit of a joke, or out there having a pirate party at the beach, and left behind some treasure for some innocent metal detectors to come along and get super excited about. Nonetheless, fun little find. I mean, they look pretty cool. So now this is what's called an eternity ring. And I've learned that since I called my last eternity ring a wedding ring. But an eternity ring is just the style where it's got all these stones in a straight line like that. And if you look at the bottom, you'll notice those little holes. So that's to let natural light through. And a lot of the time when it has those holes, it means that they are precious stones. And I could not for the life of me find a mint mark on this until I got out my macro camera. Now this thing zooms in super far, and with it I was able to spot a mint mark, SK9. It turns out that this is actually from a particular company that makes a certain alloy that is 5% platinum and 95% silver, and sure enough, these are real diamonds. So we had a pretty good find right towards the end of the day. That's why persistence is key. But let's go ahead and get this thing cleaned up and see if we can't get it just a little bit shinier. And with everything all cleaned up, here is the haul for the day. Now that was a beautiful dive. First time I've dived there before. Definitely going to have to get back because there was a lot more to find. But unfortunately, can't metal detect all day long. But stay tuned because we are planning a fun little trip. Gonna get on a plane and go metal detecting in a different location. And it's got a bit of historic background. And until next time, ta-ta!